Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 336 for the 25th of January for the Ukraine war, or the Russia special military operation in Ukraine. So let's start off with the biggest news. Very good news for the Ukrainian side, but not exactly very good news for the Ukrainian civilians. United States have announced that they will be sending 31 Abrams tanks, the M1 Abrams tanks to Ukraine. This is the main battle tank for the United States, and they're going to send 31 of them. And this comes alongside with the news of Germany planning to send 14 of their own Leopard 2 tank. And on top of that, they also announced that they will be allowing other countries that are operating the Leopard 2 to deliver their own tanks to Ukraine, because previously Leopard tanks owned by other countries still are expected to receive permission by Germany to in order to donate or sell or give their Leopard tanks to Ukraine. So Germany has now given the green light. So there will be other countries that will probably give up their Leopard tanks to Ukraine. Sweden is currently one of these countries that are considering whether to provide Ukraine with their Leopard 2 A5 tanks, which they have Swedish modifications to them. And Slovakia is also considering whether to transfer their 30 T-72 tanks to Ukraine. But Slovakia's concern is that they need their own tanks because they do not have tanks if they give away their tanks. So they say that they need to receive other vehicles in replacement for the T-72 in order to give up their T-72. And they want the tanks for free. So in fact, in this source they write, in fact, they want to update the tank fleet for free, having received the Leopard 2A6 from the Germans. So they want new tanks for the old tanks to be given to Ukraine. So let's see who want to donate tanks to Slovakia. And so Germany expected the delivery of their 14 tanks to take around 3 to 4 months. And somehow there is this information from this military maps they wrote that in the near future about 80 Leopard 2 tanks will be delivered. I'm not sure where he get this information. The known one is only 14. So maybe this 80 includes Leopard tanks from other country. And then on the UK side, they will be sending 14 Challenger 2 tanks. So basically, the Ukrainian tank force is going to look basically like a NATO combined arms force in the coming months. When will all these tanks be ready? It's not entirely clear. And 3 to 4 months, we're also not sure how the front line will change. So let's see how this goes. Going to the battlefront, we have the Ukrainian Air Force reporting that they have shot down a Sukhoi 25 ground attack aircraft and a Ka-52 attack helicopter over Ukraine. Yesterday was nice because the Ukrainian Defense Ministry reported exactly where they shoot it down. Now they go back to the shoot down over Ukraine thing, so it's a bit disappointing. Over at the Kherson front, the Russian Defense Ministry yesterday's report, their 12 noon report, which is reported later than our SITREP, because our SITREP is reported in the morning. So in the morning in Ukraine. So the Russian reports usually come very late because it's in the noon. They reported that their version of the story is the Ukrainian forces crossed the Dnieper River to disembark their sabotage and recon groups, their DRGs, to the southern bank. But then this disembarkment, this landing was prevented by an artillery strike on them. So Air Force and artillery have neutralized one company of tactical groups of enemy reserve force on the right bank near Mykolaievka. So let's see where is Mykolaievka. So the artillery and Russian Air Force actually strike somewhere around Mykolaievka, killing 30 Ukrainian soldiers And in this engagement, they also claim they killed up to 30 Ukrainian soldiers, 3 boats, and 2 infantry fighting vehicles. So, yeah, so this is the Russian official statement or report on this incident. A lot less exciting than what the pro-Russian sources wrote, which is a lot more detailed. Sometimes it makes me wonder how Ryba actually get all this information, because they get and report this information much earlier than the Russian Defense Ministry. So I suspect they have internal sources with the Russian Defense Ministry. If not, it's quite amazing how accurate their information tends to get, because they reported 3 boats sunk first, and they are the only source writing in that way. I always read is 2 boats so the Russian Defense Ministry actually reported 3 boats were sunk. So yeah, so that's the end of this chapter at Dnipro. So yeah, that's it for Kherson front. Moving on to the Zaporizhia front. At the Zaporizhia front, there is no more fighting reported around Orikhiv region, and there's no update in terms of Kayamsky situation. Moving to the western side, the eastern side of the Zaporizhia line, there is fighting reported at Shivone and Malinivka. This is a continuation of the fighting reported the day before on the eastern side of Huaypo or Huaypole. And over at the Velika Novosilka region, there is no updates in terms of any fighting around this region, except that there is a Ukrainian Mi-8 helicopter shot down over Novodarivka. This is reported by the Russian Defense Ministry, and that's all from the Zaporizhia front. Over at the Donetsk front, the significant news is the fighting reported around Vuhledar. So the Russian forces have launched a major assault against the fortress city of Vuhledar, and fighting is reported from Palivka, in the north of Palivka and the northeast of Palivka. Basically, it's still the same front. They are fighting along the entire front here, and then there is fighting reported from Mikhailsky towards Vuhledar, from the southeastern part of Vuhledar. Reinforcement is reported at Vuhledar, according to pro-Russian source Ryba, and the Ukrainian forces has also entrenched themselves at the South Donbas coal mine in the northeastern part of Vuhledar. So that's all from the Donetsk front. Moving to the Marinka region, the Russian Defense Ministry reported that they are attacking Vuhledar, or Bobeda in Russian, and there is also fighting reported at Marinka, according to War Gonzo and the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. And moving further up north of Donetsk city, at the Novobakhmutivka region, there is fighting reported around Novobakhmutivka, according to War Gonzo. The Pisky region, we did not receive any information or any intel regarding fighting around Vodiant or Pervomaisky. And that's all from the New York and Adivka region. And moving on to the Bakhmut front. At the Bakhmut front, information coming out from the pro-Ukrainian side and the pro-Russian side, basically everyone. Pro-Ukrainian side, they say that the fighting is actually west of Klishevka. And so according to Deep State UA, the pro-Ukrainian source, they said that the Russians have some success west of Klishevka. They didn't detail what kind of success is that. Probably moving towards Stuposhki or Stuposhki. And the Ryba, the pro-Russian source, reported that the Russians are moving towards Ivanivsky, Krasny, or Krasnoye, so moving towards Ivanivsky. And at Bakhmut city itself, fighting currently is reported around the meat processing plant. All the other regions within Bakhmut city is not mentioned. This is the only part that is mentioned that fighting is ongoing. Ukrainian forces have sent additional troops to the region around the meat processing plant to strengthen the defense line. And the Ukrainian Defense Ministry simply just report there is fighting at Bakhmut. No details. So that's it from the Bakhmut city. On the north of Bakhmut city, fighting continues at Paraskoviyevka as well as at Krasnohora. These are reports coming from Ryba. And Vuhledar continued to see fighting, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. I almost wondered what happened to Vuhledar. I thought it was been overrun because there's no information about it for some time. Now the Ukrainian Defense Ministry actually now updates. The Russian Defense Ministries, on the other hand, made very interesting report. They reported that there is fighting near the word they used, near Zalizniansky. Zalizniansky is here. And this is actually quite a distance from the front line that we understood. This is around 3 to 4 kilometers away. And there's even one more, even more weirder one, which is name dropped. Dubovo Vasilivka. So Dubrovo Vasilivka is actually even further. It's actually on the other side of Berhivka. And on the far away from Paraskovievka, around 3 kilometers away. So the front line isn't really here. So, but somehow the Russian Defense Ministry reported that they have, in their successful offensive operation, neutralized enemy near Zaliznianskoye, Dubovo Vasilevka. So, that makes me wonder. That's why there's this weird spike coming out. I'm not sure if the Russians actually have a major breakthrough on the rear side of Krasnohora and Paraskovievka, or is it just the Russian Defense Ministry simply name drop these locations to suggest the area of the fighting front. So, but if that is true, then why the hell do you use such an obscure town's name? Dubovo Vasilivka. You might as well just say Berkivka, right? So, so we'll continue to monitor this situation if there's actually in fact a breakthrough that is previously not mentioned by any sources that the Russians have broke through towards the west of Soledar, this Soledar. So towards the west of Soledar, towards this farmland region on the western side of the actual front line. So moving to the Sievers front. So at the Sievers front, we have similar situation for the Sievers front because the Russian Defense Ministry said near Sievers. This information was repeated yesterday. Was actually mentioned yesterday because they said that there is fighting, an offensive close to Sievers. But we do not have any reports of fighting in Sievers. This is the only reported one. Today, in yesterday's report, they again name drop fighting near Sievers. So, but this time round, we do have reports of fighting around Sievers. This time round, fighting is reported at Rozdolivka, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, and around Sperne, there is also fighting at Sperne and Verkhem Okanyamsky. All this information is coming from the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, and the Bilohorivka also received reports of fighting, where War Gonzo reported the Russians are attacking the Ukrainian position within Luhansk. And there is bombardment reported at Serebryanka, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. So I'm not sure how to read this just yet. This new way of reporting. This only started yesterday. How they reported, like they have an assault operation or offensive operations, but they use the word near, and then they name drop certain locations that doesn't seem to be the front line. We'll continue to monitor this situation on how the Russian Defense Ministry reports. It's a bit unusual. The Ukrainian Sukhoi 37 was shot down over Sloviansk, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. And let's see, do I miss anything? No. So this is shot down by the Russian Air Force. Ukrainian aircraft is not getting shot down as often in the front line, but seems to be more towards the rear. So something to take to keep a lookout for. Moving to the Crimea front, the Russian forces started their counteroffensive, according to Ryba, where they are attacking and clearing the forests of the Ukrainian forces. But likely is still pretty near to Crimea because the location dropped was southwest of Crimea, which is still in the forest region, which is where we reported the fighting was yesterday, in yesterday's SITREP. Russian Defense Ministry reported shelling at Yampolivka, north of Zaporizhia, and at Chervonopopivka, the Ukrainian Defense Ministry reported the Russians were on the offensive. And that's all from the Crimea front. And moving up to the Sviatove Kupiansk region, we have fighting reported at Novoselivsky, where the Russians say that the assault air force and artillery were attacking Novoselivsky. The Russian Defense Ministry also reported there is some recon forces operating around Novoselivsky that was contacted. Similarly, the recon or sabotage group or the raiding group from the Ukrainian side is also reported at Berestove. Further up north, we have fighting reported at Vyshana, where the Ukrainian forces is trying to probe the Russian lines around Vyshana. We haven't seen any fighting at Vyshana for like more than 2 months, I guess. We haven't this region here has been really quiet. The Russian forces are attacking Kryanikivka or Gryanikivka, and they are also fighting around Myasyotivka. This forested region here, the Russians seems to be now pushing after heavy bombardment at Vorishna over the past week. There is also bombardment reported at Kupiansk city, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. And that's all for the summary for the day of 336 for the 25th of January. So do press the like button, do press the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next update.